cattle business and the game business. All this was money from proceeds from selling animals. I have never stolen money from anywhere. The amount involved is far less than what has been bandied in the press. Babang this morning bariki billion rand, Babang bariki $4 million and so forth. I want to say it's far less.
Foreign currency in your game farm. We would like to leave this whole matter of the robbery to the due process.
How will this impact your efforts to get re-elected as ANC president?
That is a matter that needs to be discussed as part of the whole process.
April 2026. After years of being stamped top secret, the Independent Police Investigative Directorate IPID report into Phala Phala is finally public. It wasn't handed over willingly. It was forced out through Paja application and political pressure.
Parliament is not a place of criminals.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. OCB, we are removing the wrong people. We are supposed to remove the kidnapper.
We are not scared. We're going to come for them. We are 44 members of parliament. There will be no rest for Cyril in this house.
2 years. For 2 years, the public was told this report didn't exist, or it was too dangerous for national security to release. Today we know why they hid it. It confirms that the police didn't just investigate a robbery, they ran a shadow operation.
This time you are seeing this breaking news. The president is said to possibly have committed an impeachable offense. It's huge.
Cyril Ramaphosa didn't see this coming.
In their lengthy report, the panel comprising senior jurists claimed the president might have a case to answer and could even have violated the constitution.
The report makes damning findings against Major General Wally Rhoode, the head of Presidential Protection Services. Number 1, the report finds that Rhoode and Constable H.H. Rikoto initiated a massive manhunt without ever opening a police case docket. It also looks into falsified documents, and that the report reveals that documents were falsified to ensure that South African police services funded the private search for the president's money. And then in terms of the interrogation, it reveals that suspects were interrogated at the Phala Phala farm without being informed of their constitutional rights. Then it looks into the Namibian secrets. The report reveals that, and it confirms an unauthorized meeting at a non-man's land near Upington with Namibian officials involving the Presidential Envoy Bejani Chauke. So before we can go even any further regarding the reports, let us just stay with this part of the report regarding Bejani Chauke. Bejani Chauke, as I've said, is the Presidential Special Envoy. But that's the thing, this man has a lot of allegations against him that have been leveled. As of April 2026, the declassified IPID report and subsequent parliamentary inquiries have placed Bejani, the presidential's former special envoy and current presidential envoy, at the center of the cross-border dimension of the Phala Phala scandal. His implication is based on 3 specific pillars found in the IPID report in section 89 of the panel evidence. The most damning finding in the April 2026 IPID report involves a secret, unauthorized mission to Namibia in June 2020. The report confirms that Chauke was driven by Major General Wally Rhoode, head of the Presidential Protection Service, to a no-man's land border crossing near Upington. What is found is that the IPID found that Rhoode facilitated an unauthorized meeting between Chauke and Namibian officials, including reportedly Presidential Hage Geingob. Because Chauke was a political advisor and not a law enforcement official, his presence in the security mission to discuss the theft and the apprehension of the suspect, Emanuela David, was deemed unlawful. The report suggests he was used to conduct palace-to-palace diplomacy to handle the theft of the books. This is a serious allegation. While the President Ramaphosa maintains that the $580,000 was from a buffalo sale, which is Muhammad Ibrahim Hazim. The declassified report and earlier submissions by Arthur Fraser and Bantu Holomisa Party point directly at Chauke. The allegation is that Chauke illegally smuggled millions of US dollars into South Africa on chartered flights from countries including Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt. The report notes allegations that the cash was initially hidden at Chauke's private residence in Hyde Park before being moved to the Phala Phala farm and concealed in a leather sofa. ActionSA and other parties are using this declassified report to push for a lifestyle audit on Chauke, questioning how a presidential advisor could facilitate such a high-value, undeclared foreign currency movement. And that's the thing. These are not the only allegations that have been facing Chauke. If you remember, Chauke is also the neighbor of Hangwani Maumela, who happens to be a beneficiary in the Thembisa hospital scandal and also an alleged nephew of President Cyril Ramaphosa.
Goodness me, this story should shock you. Contracts worth 381 million rand, all to one man and his relative in just 3 years. Oh, and he was likely able to throw a big name around. His uncle by marriage is the President of the Republic, Cyril Ramaphosa. Now, whether or not the President knew about this, Gauteng hospitals have been dishing out lucrative contracts, some of which were flagged by the slain whistleblower Babita Deokaran before she was gunned down. So since April 2019, one man, Hlangwani Maumela, now dubbed the Don of Thembisa. He was probably going around saying he is the new Kulubuse. Jack Bloom is the DA's shadow MEC for health in Gauteng and asked his opposite number about those contracts and got the shocking reply. He joins us now on the line. Jack, always a pleasure to have you on the show. To be clear, of course, the presidency has denied the association, saying the pair has no relationship or even contact. But I imagine it's not something one would hide if they wanted to score in this way.
Well, look, the relationship is there. He's a nephew by President Ramaphosa's first wife, but there's another connection, according to News 24, and that's between Mr. Maumela and Mr. Bejani Chauke, who's the President's chief advisor. Now, that's quite a serious connection. Apparently, they live very close to each other, and they both live close to President Ramaphosa. So, of course, there's a connection. And the big question, of course, is whether any of this money made from our Gauteng hospitals, I think it was a rip-off prices, most likely. We don't even know if the products were actually delivered. Whether any of this money found its way to the ANC.
Nomantu Nkomo Ralihoko, the new MEC, says these 12 contracts were awarded to Hangwani and his relative Aluwani Maumela, all coming in, interesting, at just under 500,000 rand. So that means none of them had to go through a competitive process like tendering.
Yes, absolutely. It's very suspicious because I went through.
Also, Bejani Chauke has been implicated a lot recently by Mr. Paul O'Sullivan, specifically in how he played a role in the election or the appointment of the National Police Commissioner.
The process, what role did you play?
I was approached.
By who?
Bejani Chauke. So I have to tell the truth because I've sworn to tell the truth, and I don't think I could say anything different to that. I was approached by Bejani Chauke, who at the time was special advisor to President Ramaphosa. And he informed me that they were looking at appointing a permanent appointee. This was now after Kekle Sitoli had been relieved of his duty. And they asked for informal advice. So I asked, well, if you give me the names of the people, which they did, I said, we'll carry out a lifestyle audit of these people, which we did.
Sorry, who's we?
Forensics for Justice.
Okay.
So we carried out a lifestyle audit, And I then sent a report to Bejani. I think there were 8 names on the list. Pardon? Sorry, I think there were 8 names on the list. And one of the names was Masemola. And one of the names was Mkunazi. There were several other names as well. I mean, if you wait, I can call up the report and we can discuss it.
As if that was enough, we also heard from Sarah Jane Trent regarding Mr. Chauke. There's been a lot of allegations that has been leveled against him.
Minutes. Remember, they said I have 10 minutes.
Sorry, just...
So the question is, do write a tweet, you open a case. And the Ramaphosa is implicated in the Bosasa issue, you don't open a case. Why?
If you look at the 2 cases, the one of Andile Ramaphosa, it was something about, it was some
Bosasa.
Alleged...
Bosasa.
No, if you looked at the allegation, it was an alleged allegation, but this was July...
Also an alleged that she started the it's an alleged as well. You report right now, you were asked whether do you think this is political? You said yes.
Do I think what is political?
The attack on Duduzile Zuma.
I didn't say yes.
But let's go back. You did. Let's go back. The question is very simple. Bosasa is a corruption case. You are known in your organization to be hating on corruption, right?
Yes.
And the Ramaphosa is implicated there.
Yes.
Did you investigate?
Yes.
Straight for clearing the name. Now, my question specifically is this. Why on Duduzile Zuma you'll go and open a case, but on Ramaphosa's son, when he is implicated in corruption, you don't investigate, you don't open a case, you go for clarification of his name. Why?
It has to do with both the cases. It's not as simple as...
Are you sure you're a lawyer?
If there were...
Are you sure you're a lawyer?
I'm a non-practicing...
Did you study law?
Yes.
Seriously? I'm not that good in English, but I'm going to ask you this question again. Try to listen to my question. Why on Duduzile Zuma you went and opened a case on those allegations, but on
he was inciting violence and brought the country to its knees.
Alleged, right?
And Andile Ramaphosa was alleged to have freaking received something in a bank account, and that was it. It is
was there
very
money received
different. Pardon?
Was there money received by Andile?
No.
Are you sure?
The allegation was about...
Just there. Are you sure?
The allegation was about him receiving money into an ABSA bank account. I can't remember, but he had no
wait a minute.
bank.
Let's not rush. You say the allegation was about him receiving money from Usasa, right?
And then I
Let me help
corrected
you.
myself.
Okay.
It was about a bank account, an ABSA, and there was an ABSA. He was alleged to have received or paid. It was something about an ABSA, and we checked whether there was an ABSA bank account registered in his name, and that was the.
And money was in that account, right?
He didn't have an ABSA bank. Look,
money was in that account.
He didn't have. If I'm remembering the bank name
okay,
correctly,
but let's leave it there. Let's go back to a very simple question. But when I make it implicated for yourself, let's make it easy. On this side, you went to clear his name immediately. On this side, you went to open a case immediately. Are you with me? Why there's so unfairness? Why? Because it's Ramaphosa. Are you getting something from Ramaphosa?
No.
Do you think Paul is still friends with Ramaphosa?
I don't think.
Have you met Cyril Ramaphosa?
I have
President
not.
Cyril Ramaphosa?
I have not.
You have not? You have not?
No.
And also, Mr. Gwetemantashe exposed him that he buys votes. Mr. Chauke buys votes. And that in and of itself, it gets to show you that Mr. Chauke is willing to do anything and everything to, quote unquote, protect the president.
To be done with money versus leadership.
Can I tell you, if there's one battle that we almost lost, is the battle and fight against money. You know, In the past, we had this thing that money is used and so forth. This time around, we find people at branch level, at regional level, phoning you, have this number of delegates, please give me so much money.
How much are we talking here?
Yeah, it depends. One person phoned me and said, I've won 40 delegates, give me 100,000 rand. And I tell him that if I had 100,000 rand, I would go to an auction and buy sheep or cattle. I wouldn't give it to you.
Not a buffalo. You wouldn't buy a buffalo.
I won't buy a buffalo. I don't have high fence for wild animals.
Yeah. So, but definitely the issue of money, you've seen it. I mean, even also
it's a serious matter.
How are you going to deal with it? Because also Cyril Ramaphosa's campaign has been accused of running a multi-million campaign.
I'm not sure. I think he scaled down this year. Last time he was in trouble about that. But today it was more complex because it was widespread. For example, there was a man who was campaigning for a Treasurer General. He worked in the office of the President. We raised our concern. This person is in your office. He's going around buying votes. Please deal with that issue. Fortunately or unfortunately, he's not elected Treasurer General of the SA. But if you go around displaying money, it's the worst way of dealing with things. Then you spoil these delegates. When they talk to you, don't give them money.
He is willing to even go to jail for him. I don't know, maybe really he knows whom is going to protect him. Because what he said initially, he said the president authorized this trip. But I think we'll hear from the president, but knowing President Cyril Ramaphosa, I doubt that he'll want to respond to this IPID report. Others are even asking, what more? It's just about IPID, yes, because this, remember, it's about police, yes, because this is an IPID report. It focuses on the unlawful acts of the police more than the unlawful act of the president.
Sorry, Minister, we lost you there. You said that's a matter of interest.
You could explore that matter with IPID and its spokesperson. The important point is also that they have now declassified the report. And there are obviously reasons that informed this decision. So those are matters that can be explored with IPID because, in principle, that is the right avenue. This is an independent body and they should be accountable for the decisions that they made.
The president has to be investigated by the public protector, Gasheka. And if you guys remember Gasheka said that she found nothing wrong with the acts of the president. And if you guys can look at this report properly, the report states that Chauke's name and the president was invoked to pressure SAPS and border officials to comply with irregular requests related to a private investigation. During earlier public protector's probe, Rhoode claimed he merely gave Chauke a lift to Namibia. At the president's request, IPID dismissed this lift narrative in 2026, categorizing it instead as an organized, state-funded private recovery operation, let alone his involvement in the 360 million SAPS tender of Busumuzi Ketmatlala, because he was friends with the head of supply chain, who overlooked the irregularities, the tender irregularities, and what Ketmatlala did not comply with, and they still gave him the tender. Apparently, this guy also has some relationship with Bejani Chauke.
You agree with me when I say you are the biggest role player in facilitating this tender?
I have not spoken to Bejani Chauke about this tender.
So do you know if Bejani Chauke has a relationship with Ketmatlala?
I have no knowledge of that.
So in all of these corruption, Thembisa Hospital, 360 million tender, now with the Phala Phala farm, the very Phala Phala case, whom we heard from the report that was leaked by Jermaine Prim, given to General Ntantam Kwanas. We found that Vusumuzi Ketmatlala is involved, apparently, in this Phala Phala scandal.
Also told me about a lady, Babita Deokaran. Vusi said that he himself is very close to Ramaphosa and that they were the ones who took the couches, etc., to Phala Phala. Let me read that again. Vusi, that's Kat Matlala, said that he himself is very close to Ramaphosa and that they were the ones who took the couches, etc.
So everything is just a coincidence. I'm just shocked that everything is just that sequence of coincidence that Hangwan Maumera, Bejani Chauke, Vusumuzi Matlala, Phala Phala farm, the very allegations of Jermaine Prim, all of this just so happens that it's just a coincidence that Bejani Chauke is just right at the center, allegedly. I don't know, do what you may with this information. The report puts President Cyril Ramaphosa in a difficult position. It suggests he informed Wally Rhoode about the theft in 2020, yet a formal case was only registered in 2022 after Arthur Fraser's blew the whistle. The report finds that Rhoode invoked the president's name to pressure other law enforcement officials into irregular requests. The question for 2026 is, if the president knew his protectors were running an illegal off-the-book operation for 2 years, why did he not stop them? While IPID handles the police conduct, the Constitutional Court is about to deliver a knockout blow. Chief Justice Mandisa Maya has confirmed that a judgment on whether Parliament erred in rejecting the Section 9 case to answer report is due within weeks. The IPID report has given us the bullets. Now we wait for the court to provide the gun. If the court says Parliament was wrong to shield the president, the impeachment process starts again, but this time with the IPID evidence on the table. Despite the report finding clear wrongdoing and recommending disciplinary action, Major General Wally Rhoode maintained in the post as of April 2026. I don't know, guys, what you think of this. This doesn't look good for the President Cyril Ramaphosa. We heard at the time when Cyril Ramaphosa wanted to leave presidency, when Samkele had an interview regarding the internal issue about him leaving ANC and all of that, and saying that he's going nowhere. Let me play that clip for you.
This leadership was elected in 2022 at the Nasrec Expo Center. They are going to their midterm review now in December, from the 8th to the 13th or the 12th of December at the Nasrec Expo Center, the National General Council of the African National Congress. That is where most likely the scales may be tipped on who is likely to succeed ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa come the 2027 conference of the African National Congress. I do know that in the various discussions that have taken place, there have many who have said that if Cyril Ramaphosa were to leave now, before the ANC's national conference, it will put the ANC into abyss, would liken it to an implosion within the governing party, which would be an open fanfare of contestation between Paul Mashatile, Fikile Mbalula, the likes of Patrice Motsepe as well, who've been branded about.
Nomvula Mukonyani's name had also come up.
There are many others. It's a plethora of leaders of the African National Congress who see themselves through the eye of the needle as being contenders of being elected ANC president, yet many of them have a shroud of skeletons that they've got to answer to. But essentially, it is an issue that is being debated in the corners on who will succeed ANC President Ramaphosa. But at this point in time, it does not look like he is going to leave office before the 2027 conference. But beyond 2027, 2028, January, February, the State of the Nation address may be delivered by someone else, but that is not only now dependent on the ANC, it also depends on other GNU partners.
So that's in about 2 to 3 years, and perhaps, as you're saying, the fact that there's now a GNU, a government of national unity, might complicate what we've seen as the choreography of the ANC, where presidents leave soon after someone else is elected, at the conference. But let's talk about why the NGC in December then would be the battleground, because it's not an elective conference, but you're suggesting that that's where the battle then to lead will begin to take shape.
If you remember correctly, the ANC's NGC in 2015, I remember there were videos at the time in my previous life in another company. I was working with Thulasizwe Simelane, and I had been given videos of delegates singing Mantashe, Kaukulume no Zuma atetelo Ramaphosa to lead. Mantashe, can you speak to Zuma to let Ramaphosa to lead? That is where a campaign of a successor is unveiled by those who support that particular leader. That leader may not come out at that particular point in time of the National General Council, because if you look at Cyril Ramaphosa's timing for the ANC presidency in 2017, he addressed a SACP cadres forum in Uitenhage in the Eastern Cape in PE, where it was about 4 months before the elective conference. I remember where they said Cyril Ramaphosa finally has what it takes to take on Jacob Zuma, and comes out guns blazing at that particular time. So timing and time and space of where you actually unveil that you are actually contending for that particular position becomes very important in the African National Congress. And in many instances, if you come out and say, I, Samkele Masego, I, Temegile Mkhototo, am available to lead, that's when delegates tend to shun you.
Right.
You look at Dr. Zulini Mkhize,
So
for
it's a
example.
timing issue.
It's a timing issue, but it's also the issue of ANC lexicon that must come out of you when you speak. You look at a parameters.
All I can say is that President Ramaphosa is in trouble, Bejani Chauke is in trouble, the officers that are involved in this whole thing are in trouble. It is now up to the law enforcement, up to the proper structures like the police portfolio, the presidency portfolio, to take steps to ensure that these recommendations are acted on. We shall wait for next month for the Constitutional Court judgment. Others are saying it might not be, it might continue protecting the president because of how long it took for them to take this decision, but others are saying it will never protect the president, and that we will see justice being at play and the rule of law, that no one is above the law. Let me hear what you think, guys, about this report being declassified. Nonetheless, I'll see you guys on my next upload. Bye.